Welcome to the second reading of the A Course in Miracle Principles in the Urtext version of A Course in Miracles. As you know, there is about 15,000 words in the Urtext version which are not in the sparkly edition of A Course in Miracles, nor at the Foundation for Inner Peace version. Some people are asking me, which version should I start with? Well, my recommendation is you start with the Foundation for Inner Peace, simply because they are the guardians of A Course in Miracles and you're supporting them. And the information which you are getting in this Urtext version is not necessary to begin with. What is important about the Course in Miracles is the course. It's the course which is the 365 lesson, which you are starting on lesson 1. You're doing one lesson per day, and then you accomplish all the other 360 lessons which are there. And I have recorded all the 365 lessons with Qigong. You're gonna use the body the right way to internalize the lessons, to understand the usefulness of the body in the sense which the Course in Miracle has intended. And the text is a very difficult text to read. So I would definitely recommend you read this version, is because both Helen Schuckman, who was the scribe of the course, and William Thetford, who typed the course up, they had decided that this should be the official version. And after you have done that, and after you have decided, okay, this is for me, then maybe you get yourself the Urtext version. We are reading the principles of A Course in Miracles here, which goes over several pages and which I'm going to have to divide over several recordings. And it's maybe interesting for you to do, but the book you should buy yourself is this one. And especially because you're supporting the guardians, which is the Foundation for Inner Peace. Okay, so let's begin reading our principles together. We have already done the first 11 principles in the Urtext. This is 10 principles in both the Sparkly edition and the Course and the Foundation for Inner Peace version. So I'm going to open this up here again. We are here at miracle number 10, and I'm going to read the miracle number 10 here in the Foundation for Inner Peace for you, so you know where we are, and then we are going to continue with the Urtext. So the Foundation for Inner Peace, the 10th miracle is: the use of miracles as spectacles to induce belief is a misunderstanding of their purpose. We are not supposed to perform miracles so we can prove to others that we have got some special powers. This is not what this is all about. You are not to feed the ego. You are here to help others remember who they truly are. First remember it yourself, and then help others remember who they are. We are all children of God. Just some of us are remembering and some of us don't. And the ones which do have to help the other ones who don't. Help them remember and help them be willing to remember. And the willingness you cannot force on them. It has to arise within them. The desire has to arise within them. And your job is to be there when that desire arises. Okay? Principle number 12 in the Urtext version goes like this. Prayer is the medium of miracles. Prayer is the natural communication of the created with the Creator. When we are speaking to our Creator, we're doing it through prayer. And each one of us should pray. And we should teach our children to pray. I haven't done it. I have forgotten to teach them that. That was a big mistake. So I can see here that the prayer, that the miracle 12 is exactly the same. The miracle 11 here in the Foundation for Inner Peace is exactly the miracle 12. But then it goes here. So here it says 12b, but here this is already miracle number 12. Miracles are thought creations. Thought can create lower order or higher order realities. Again, miracles are thought creations. Thought can create lower order or higher order realities. This is the basic distinction between intellectualization and thinking. I love this. One creates the physical and the other the spiritual, and we believe in what we create. Let me just repeat this again. Miracles are thought creations. Thought can create lower order or higher order realities. It means you can plan something physically. You can say, okay, I'm not going to go and cook something now and make a nice meal. That will be a lower order. Or you can create a healing meal. That would be higher order reality. This is the basic distinction between intellectualization and thinking. One creates the physical and the other the spiritual, and we believe in what we create. Some people are intellectualizing it, and then it actually loses the essence of the spirituality. And as a Course in Miracles teachers, we always want to keep the awareness of spirit within the conversations, with whatever what we do, always remembering that this body belongs to earth and our mind belongs to the universe, belongs to the divine, and whatever we are doing, we are choosing to bring spirit with us or to intellectualize it and pretend it's not there. You see? A miracle is a beginning and an ending. It thus abolishes time. It is always an affirmation of rebirth, always an affirmation of remembering who you are, which seems to go back, but really goes forward. It undoes the past in the present and thus releases the future. Let me just read this one more time to you. A miracle is a beginning and an ending. It thus abolishes time. It is always an affirmation of rebirth, which seems to go back, but really goes forward. It undoes the past in the present. It undoes the past in the present and thus releases the future. Then we go to number 14. Miracles attest to truth. They are convincing because they arise from conviction. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather the uncreative use of mind. So now we are here, this is both number 14 in Foundation for Inner Peace, and it's also number 14 in the Urtext. Except that in the Urtext it says, miracles attest to truth, and here it's saying, miracles bear witness to truth. So it's a little bit a different meaning. Miracles attest to truth. They are convincing because they arise from conviction. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather the uncreative use of mind. So what is magic thinking? Magic thinking is when we become superstitious, when we are adding things into that spiritual realm which is not there, never has been there, never will be there. We are forgetting that we are spirit. So we are creating magical thinking, and in a way complicating our relationship to our true self through this magical thinking. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic. So for example, just as a Qigong teacher here, if I'm doing Qigong only because I think it's a physical benefit, it deteriorates into magic, and also maybe also becomes a kind of mindless, and therefore it can even become destructive, or rather the uncreative use of mind. And that is the important. You have got the mind, use it creatively. 15. Each day should be devoted to miracles. God created time so that man could use it creatively and convince himself of his own ability to create. Time is a teaching device and a means to an end. It will cease when it is no longer useful for facilitating learning. Now this one is very interesting here. It's very interesting here because it's been put into brackets that God creating time so that man could use it creatively and convince himself of his own ability to create. Time is a teaching device and a means to an end. It will cease when it is no longer useful for facilitating learning. So this is number 15. The purpose of time, and then it says here, there's nothing about God in this number 15 here in the Foundation for Inner Peace. Each day should be devoted to miracles. The purpose of time is to enable you to learn how to use time constructively. It is thus a teaching device and a means to an end. Time will cease when it is no longer useful in facilitating learning. So they have basically just taken out that one sentence, God created time so that man could use it creatively. And here it says the purpose of time is to enable you to learn how to use time constructively. For me personally, it means a lot that God created time. Because if God created time, God also created earth. So then earth is a creation. Time is a creation and the universe is a creation. And in the beginning, when I was doing the Course in Miracles, I had the feeling that it all was my creation. I almost fell into this, I think it's called solipsism or nihilism, that everything I see is the creation of my mind. And this is putting yourself somehow above everything else, you know. So then everything suddenly is the creation of the mind, and not understanding that even this body is part of creation, but the way you're using the body, it becomes an illusion. Or the way you are using the mind, or the way you are perceiving the world becomes the illusion, you see? If God created time as a teaching device, that means that we ought to use the time in that manner. We should use it in that manner as it was created. Then me personally, I'm willing to give the time a different meaning when God has created it. This is what it does to me. You can tell me in the comments what it does to you, if it gives you the same kind of sensation. I just want to see if the Sparkly edition also has it like this. They has it exactly the same as the Foundation for Inner Peace. There's nothing about God. So interesting. It's very interesting. So each day should be devoted to miracles. God created time so that man could use it creatively and convince himself of his own ability to create. And convince himself of his own ability to create. So we are supposed to convince ourselves of our own ability to create because we are creators. And somewhere else in the text it says, in the text, also in the Foundation for Inner Peace, it says, if you do not allow yourself to create, you're going to become miserable. You're going to even become depressed. You need to create. This is what you are here for. And this is exactly how I feel. When I can't create, I can fall very easily into depression. It's also, I've reached an age where I know this about myself. I didn't know that before. So now I'm aware of it. Then it says 15b, special instructions. Notes on this course have to be taken only under good learning conditions. This is the instructions to Helen Schuckmann. Special instructions. Notes on this course have to be taken only under good learning conditions. The same goes for review periods. I will tell you when, but remember to ask. So this is almost like a message to us. Special instructions. Notes on this course have to be taken only under good learning conditions. It means you have to be awake, you have to be aware, alone, no noise, whatever is a good learning condition for you. The same goes for review periods. In the course, the first 50 lessons is you have got a new lesson each day, and then you have got a review period of 10 days. And after that, every 10 or 20 days, there is a review period until we reach part 2. In part 2, there is no review periods anymore. Then the whole courses, the whole lessons structure is built up a little bit differently. So it's very interesting. It says here, the same goes for the review periods. I will tell you when, but remember to ask if you need to make notes. Then it goes into miracle number 16. There's nothing about special instructions in here. No, this is only here in the Urtext. Miracles are teaching devices for demonstrating that it is more blessed to give than to receive. They simultaneously increase the reserve strength of the giver and supply the lack of strength in the receiver. Be very careful in interpreting this. Very interesting. It's almost like a message to me. Be very careful interpreting this, because as I was reading this, I was thinking, yeah, this is how I feel when I'm giving Reiki. I feel that when I'm giving Reiki, as I'm allowing the light from above to come through me and sending it to the person, I actually feel energized afterwards. And I have often heard of people, even on the last Qigong immersion I have been, where somebody says, when I'm giving Reiki, I'm feeling exhausted. And then several people turned around and said, well, you're doing it wrong. You're not supposed to use your own energy. You're supposed to use the divine energy to you're like just opening up the channel, really. I mean, when I'm doing Reiki, what I'm really doing, I'm opening up their own channels so the energy can come to them, the chi can come. But I love Reiki, I have to say, and I will be teaching it, but I will be teaching it more from a Qigong perspective, from a Chinese medicine perspective, is because I feel that people need to be involved in their healing process. They need to breathe into those different areas when I'm working in them. I need them to become more aware. It's because what I want to teach is awareness. So I need them to be present, and I need them to learn how to help themselves. So that is my mission, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do it that way. Let's read that again. Miracles are teaching devices for demonstrating that it is more blessed to give than to receive. They simultaneously increase the reserve strength of the giver and supply the lack of strength in the receiver. Be very careful in interpreting this. Then it's here, 16b has got special instructions as well. The purpose of this course is integration. The purpose of this course is integration. That's why Qigong is so incredibly important, because we've got to integrate. We've got to integrate. I have forgotten about this particular sentence, but here it is. The purpose of this course is integration. I told you that you will not be able to use it right until you have taken it. So you can't use this text right until you have done the course. You've got the course here as well in the back. But like I said, really take one of those small books. This is more like for studying. This is like for advanced purposes. So the purpose of this course is integration. I told you that you will not be able to use it right until you have taken it, until you have taken the course. As long as your identification vacillates, means vacillates, it goes back and forth, you don't know if you should believe or not believe, and B's is weak, that means William Thetford's identification is vacillating. 1 minute it's this way, 1 minute it's that way. You cannot accept the gift that belongs to you, the talents which belong to you. You are still vacillating between recognizing the gift and throwing it away. Bill or William regards himself as too weak to accept it. So just question yourself, are you also regarding yourself too weak to accept it? You do not yet know its healing power of the gifts you have. After you have passed the course, you will accept it and keep it and use it. You gotta do the course. You gotta dedicate those minimum 12 months to the retraining of your mind, and you will see things differently. The things that you know, they will be refined. You will understand everything better. Everything is going to fall into place perfectly, and it will make much more sense. And then also when you're going to speak to people about spiritual things, you will be able to express it in such a way that people do not get offended, and that people do not get, oh my God, this is far too spiritual. Because as Course in Miracles teachers, we want to be in the middle. We don't want to be on the spiritual New Age train too much, as there is a lot of well-intended but teachings which are misleading. There's misleading teachings, if you will. That's why I like Qigong again. I like Qigong so much in the way when I'm studying it, is because it's an observation of nature, and some people can still distort it, but still we are getting to the basics of it. We are observing, and we are, and this is also the same with the Course in Miracles. We are observing our mind, and we are noticing, you're right, this is how the mind works. And we are retraining the mind. We are noticing that when we are retraining the mind, and when we are applying the lessons and the training to our mind and to our observation, our mind slowly changes. But it takes time. It takes time to adjust. So let me read the instructions again. The purpose of this course is integration. I told you that you will not be able to use it right until you have taken it. As long as your identification vacillates and Bill Thetford's is weak, you cannot accept the gift that belongs to you. You are still vacillating between recognizing the gift and throwing it away. Bill regards himself as too weak to accept it. You do not yet know its healing power. You do not know the healing power of the course. After you have passed the course, you will accept it and keep it and use it. That is the final exam which you will have no trouble in passing. Midterm marks are not entered in the permanent record. So this is just saying whatever happens in between, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that in the end you will pass the final exam. In the end you will see things differently. Miracle 17. Miracles are the absence of the body. Let me repeat this. Let me see if this is the same here. It says here, miracles, here it says, miracles transcend the body. And here? And here it says, miracles are the transcendence of the body. And here it says, miracles are the absence of the body. I mean, this is three different meanings in three books about the same. It's the same book. Miracles are the absence of the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from lower order reality. That is why they heal. What does it say here? Miracles transcend the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from the bodily level. That is why they heal. This was a foundation for inner peace, and here's the sparkly. Miracles are the transcendence of the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from a sense of lower order reality. That is why they heal. I have to say, for me personally, this one makes more sense to me. Miracles are the absence of the body. Remembering that we are not a body. I mean, we have a body, but we are not a body. We are not a... So if we don't have a physical body, we don't have a body. Miracles are the absence of the body, remembering that we are just simply energy. Miracles are the absence of the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from the lower order reality. That is why they heal. 18. A miracle is a service. It is the maximal service that one soul can render another. It is a way of loving your neighbor as yourself. The doer recognizes his own and his neighbor's inestimable value simultaneously. And this is so beautiful. 18. A miracle is a service. It is the maximal service you can render to another. It is the way of loving your neighbor as yourself. You recognize your own and your neighbor's worth simultaneously. We've been practicing this so much during that year of recording the course, the lessons together with the Qigong, always reminding ourselves, you gotta focus on the light within the other. We are all light beings. It's just some of us remember, some of us don't. And you, as the one who remembers the light within yourself, you gotta see the light within the other. And sometimes it's easier to see the light within the other, but when you look for it, then it's going to remind you that you too are the light. Let me read that again. A miracle is a service. It is the maximal service that one soul can render another. It is a way of loving your neighbor as yourself. The doer recognizes his own and his neighbor's inestimable value simultaneously. Just remembering, I have gone to school in Austria, which is a Catholic country, and so we had a priest when I was a kid. We had a priest coming once a week or something, and we had a religion. He was telling us the story of Jesus, and I was very connected to that story. For me, it always felt like I had been there, and that the priest was telling the story, and it was some sort of memory. That's how it felt to me when I was like 6 years old or something. And I remember when he was talked about that you love the neighbor as yourself. And I remember that him saying that, and how it was. And how this memory is actually arising in my mind now by reading this. So 18 has got an additional paragraph here, again in brackets. This is why so a miracle is a service. It is the maximal service that one soul can render another. It is a way of loving your neighbor as yourself. The doer recognizes his own and his neighbor's inestimable value simultaneously. And then it says in brackets that this is why no areas of hatred can be retained. You cannot retain hatred for anybody or anything, because it's actually tainting your own light. If you retain them, your own value is no longer inestimable because you are evaluating it as X or infinity minus that amount. This is meaningless mathematically, which uses the term inestimable only in the very literal sense, pun intended specifically for Bill, who originally did not get it, intended as a special sign of love. This is meaningless mathematically, which uses the term inestimable only in very literal sense. Pun intended especially for B, who originally did not get it, intended as a special sign of love. And then miracle number 19. Miracles rest on the law and order of eternity, not of time. So here we have got miracle 19, 20, and 21, which are in the foundation for inner peace. They are all under 19, which is very interesting. So here, miracle number 19. Miracles rest on the law and order of eternity, not time. And then it's been added here, miracles make minds one in God. So 19 goes like this. Miracles rest on the law and order of eternity, not of time. And here there is the miracles number 19. Miracle rest on the law and order of eternity and not on time. Miracles are an industrial necessity. Industry depends on cooperation, and cooperation depends on miracles. This is like 20. And then 21, miracles are cobwebs of iron. They unite human frailty to the strength of God. And then it says here, see page 7 and see page 8. So we're going to have a look what page 7 and 8 actually mean. But I think I'm going to leave this miracle and the reading and interpretation of this particular miracle for next week. And because I can see this is like a rather big section here where there's been lots of markups, where I have marked a lot of stuff here. So I think we leave this for the next week. There is a really long footnote about love and sex and heterosexuality and homosexuality. And I want to explore this together with you, because I think it is very important that we do this together, as sometimes we, like I said, in Christianity we have a tendency of excluding it, and the beautiful thing in Qigong is that you are including it. You are aware that the original force, the original creative force, the Jing, is very much to do with sexuality. I hope this was interesting for you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of conclusions you have got from this. And remember that you can do the Course in Miracle together with me. Here is the link to the Course in Miracle lessons. Here is a link to Qigong classes specially made for Course in Miracle students. Or here is a link to all the Urtext reading. Share this with somebody who might find this interesting. And love, light and Qi to you.